There were two shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But she couldn't have heard those gunshots. I thought we proved that. That is not the most important point here. The moment he was shot, Mr. Latos witnessed her through that window. Why else would he have named her as the witness? But I really did hear them. Two gunshots and the man's voice. Unfortunately, such a thing was impossible. The window was closed. Well, blind people tend to have better hearing, right? So, we have already run a simulation, of course. But it was so clear. If I heard that voice again, I would know it in an instant. Your Honor. What is it, bailiff? Can't you see we're in session here? We have the results back from the investigation. The investigation. The Interpol number that Mr. Latos left us. Well, let's hear it. We will continue this cross-examination afterward. Detective Chrysand, your report, please. I asked Interpol about that number. I'm sure you'll find their answer intriguing. Quick work as always, Daria. Well, tell us about the number. Is the defendant a secret agent? IPXX 314206. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latos. What? Our undercover Interpol agent was Mr. Latos himself. He was apparently in the middle of an operation. So when he wrote those letters, he was trying to tell us his own identity, and a cautious killer tried to wipe them away. Mr. Latos was an undercover Interpol agent, so him being Lamiour's manager was just a cover, most likely. There's one other important detail I found. Well, out with it. It concerns that .45 caliber revolver, the murder weapon. Apparently it belonged to Romain Latos. He had an Interpol permit to carry firearms, and the registration number on the revolver matched. So the victim was killed with his own weapon, which makes sense. It's hard to imagine someone who wasn't an Interpol agent with such a large revolver. So the victim was an Interpol agent on an undercover op. I wonder how that ties into everything. It's got to tie in somehow, you would think. Yeah, somehow. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescent. It's a great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. Wait. La Lamiour, is something the matter? That voice just now. Darien? Mr. Darien, is it? It was him. I am sure of it. It was him. You aren't saying. That voice I heard talking to Mr. Latos when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Darien. But it couldn't have been because Mr. Darien was playing on stage on the concert. Is this some kind of joke? What? No, way. The courtroom fell into such a chaotic state, the trial had to be suspended temporarily. I had never seen that happen before. Of course, it's not every day that you get an accusation like that one. Lammy roared, fingering Darian Crescent. Not only is he a guitarist, he's a detective. Could it really have been his voice Lammy Ward heard? Things were changing fast, and frankly, I wasn't sure I could keep up with it. Hey, no wimping out now, Apollo. To be continued. Hey, hey, Apollo. What? Well, you know, actually, nothing. I mean, something. Or maybe not. Out with it. The suspense is giving me an ulcer. Well, you know, the trial today. I was thinking, if you gave it a score, what score would you give it? Score? I guess I would. Or maybe. Well, I'm just as bad as you. See, it's so vague. Clearly, Matchy avoided a guilty verdict, which is something, though I can't say I'm any less confused about the case. I asked Airpole about that number. I'm sure you'll find their answer intriguing. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latos, and the victim, Mr. Latos. Who would have guessed he was actually an undercover Interpol agent? What a mess. And we don't have any idea what he was investigating. Well, true, but we know who shot him now. Lammy Ward told the whole court. Wait, that voice just now. It was him. I am sure of it. That voice I heard talking to Mr. Latos. When I heard the gunshots fired, it was him. It was Mr. Darian. It's another mystery, Apollo. I love mysteries. I don't. Speaking of mysteries, what's Mr. Wright up to? I wouldn't mind asking his opinion. Now that you mention it, I haven't seen Daddy around. What, is he some kind of stray that just wanders in and out at will? I wouldn't say that, but he has been going out a lot. Some top secret mission, he said. Top secret. Anyway, you can't just rely on him to save the day. And you've got me to help you. We'll be fine. Fine. Right. Well, time's a wasting, as they say. Let's investigate. That's the spirit. Mr. Charlie the potted plant. His leaves are looking a little brown. Good morning, Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie, your leaves. Maybe you weren't giving him enough water. No, it must be stress. He's worried about the new recruit at the office. Hey, don't blame it on me. You are watering him, right? It was Daddy's turn to water him this week. Mr. Wright has been away on his top secret mission, no? I'm sorry, Mr. Charlie. This is all my fault. I'll water you soon. Promise. What a caring caretaker. A strange split box leers at me from the wall. No matter how many times I see that there, it still strikes me as odd. Really? I guess I've gotten used to it after growing up with it always around the house. What kind of a home did you grow up in? I would hide in there when we played hide and seek. You just get in, slide the sections around, and you're impossible to find. I bet you would be. That's one of those hats you pull things out of, right? Of course, my hat's like a little universe, bigger on the inside than on the outside. That reminds me of a sci-fi show I used to watch. Incidentally, my pocket is a little universe too, and my panties, and I get the idea. I think you might just live in your own universe in general, Trucy. Just saying. There are several books of magic mixed in with the legal books on the shelves. I dusted them recently. Nothing like the gleam of clean books. Well, how about some tea? Here you go. Thanks, that's nice. But this is not the time to be drinking tea. That's right, we have to get investigating. That was a close call. We almost relaxed. You know, that ring kind of gets in the way. Our client the other day tripped on it and fell on the floor, sending my ring rolling out the door. You know how long it took me to find it? You know how long it took to calm down the client? And in the end, they walked out without hiring us. Could you clean up a bit? But don't you think the props give the office a festive, fun-filled mood? I'm not sure law offices have to be festive and fun-filled. Apollo, this is the right anything agency. As CEO, I want an office that says we know how to have fun. Girls, after all, just want to have fun. I guess it is her office, isn't it? I've seen some restaurants that set out real food to show what's on the menu. I have too, but I noticed something strange. One time there was a sandwich without any lettuce, like it had disappeared by magic. I'm sure someone just swiped the lettuce and ate it. Wait, that sandwich. You didn't. Apollo, you shouldn't eat sample food no matter how hungry you are. Just how hard up do you think I am? I mean, it doesn't help that you haven't been paid in a while as far as I'm aware. How is your magic act coming along? Well, I've been working on my cups and balls routine. Is that the one where the ball moves from under one cup to the other? That's right, the very same. Here, watch. First I put one of the cups over the ball, then I snap my fingers. The ball's under the other cup. It's not there. Watch me pull something out of my magic panties. Nice try. Guess I know what I'll be doing tonight. Practicing. You can be my audience, Apollo. She did say she was practicing after all, so no surprise she didn't get it the first time. A faded photograph showing one of Trucy's favorite magicians. She talks to it daily for good luck, I hear. I almost forgot. I hope I become a famous grand magician. I hope Apollo becomes an ace attorney. There, all done. I suppose if you're going to talk to inanimate objects, a photo isn't so bad. Lammy Roar dropped a bomb in court today. It was Darien. Lammy Roar said she's never forgotten a voice, right? That's so cool. I guess. What's that called again? Elephant ears? I bet that's what they're called. Somehow I don't think that means what you think it means. And she has to be wrong this time. Wrong? Why? I mean, look. Those gunshots were right during the concert. That's right, I was burning up the dance floor at the time. Right, did you happen to look up on stage? Maybe at Darien, even? You bet I did. He is one of the governor's guitarists after all. He's so cool. Oh, right. All the governors have a rock-solid alibi. Quite literally a rock alibi. He couldn't have shot Mr. Latos backstage. But Lammy Roar heard him, didn't she? She heard Darien backstage, right? Somebody's either wrong or lying very badly here. Okay, but did Darien have any vocals? Because if Darien had vocals, it would have been coming through the speaker, right? I mean... An Interpol agent. I was wondering, what is Interpol anyway? Interpol? They're the guys who catch international criminals. Why can't they just call them International Police instead of making up some silly name? Yeah, anyway, you think he was investigating Lammy Roar? Because International Police is a mouthful, so they shorten it to Interpol. Inter for international, pol for police. Duh. Why would anyone do that? She's not a criminal. She couldn't be. Don't be fooled by appearances is all I'm saying. But remember, I'm a magician, Apollo. I can spot a palmed coin at 50 paces. If only it were that easy. In any case, we know he was working on something. I wonder if it was something that has something to do with something. That something being our case. The last something, I mean. Something like that. Frankly, the whole thing is making my head hurt. What was Mr. Latos up to? Trucy, was that another one of your tricks? It wasn't me. Can't even make Mr. Hat laugh like that. Wherever the mundane gives way to miracles, a word is whispered. Grammary. Grammary? The other day. Who's there? We didn't just imagine that, did we? He was wearing a silk hat. Friend of yours? Hardly. We meet again. Nice to meet you. Who are you? And could you please stop smirking like that? It's you, Uncle Valiant. Uncle Valiant, he's your uncle. No, silly, it's the great Grimary, Valiant Grimary, the Grand Magician. Yes, it is I, the great Valiant Grimary, as seen on television. And could you please stop smirking like that? It's been a while, Miss Trucy, 7 years to be exact. My, how you've grown. Good to see you again, Uncle Valiant. You look exactly the same. I hate to intrude, but what is a great magician doing paying us a visit? I believe it was you who wished to see me, so be quick with your questions. And do not quail, quake, or quiver, I am quite tame. Though my stardom may sear the sight, I'm quite down to earth when need calls. He does have a certain aura to him, it's true. Let's ask him about the case, Apollo. His aura sure isn't lost on our magician in the making. She's practically drooling with enthusiasm. After all, Uncle Valiant's one of Daddy's best friends. That's why I call him Uncle. Oh, what? Daddy? You mean Mr. Right? No, I mean my real daddy. Trucy's real father. Hold up, back up, what? These guys keep teasing us about what happened 7 years ago. Huh. Wait, Apollo, don't tell me you don't know about Troop Gramary. Troop Gramary? Huh? No? But it does sound kind of familiar. Lost life, lamentably listless lad. To not know of the greatest troop of magicians on the planet. Valiant Gramary, the name began to surface in my mind. It was the name I had heard on television as a child. You bet you've heard the name. He made a cruise ship disappear and blew up an amusement park. He made all this gold disappear from a safe. And then escaped from a high-security prison. You said he is a magician. I opened the locks to hearts chained by mediocrity. This is the true miracle of Troop Gramary. Wait. What, Apollo? I do remember seeing you on television a long time ago. Weren't you with someone else, like a duo? A duo? Yeah, you had a partner, something Gramary. Yes, Zach Gramary, a masterful maker of magic, a capable crafter of shining showmanship. Why is everyone so quiet? Daddy. Daddy? No way. Once upon a time, Troop Gramary included 2 grand magicians. Myself, Valiant Gramary, and my partner, Zach Gramary. And this Zach he was my real daddy, Trucy's father, a magician. I guess it makes sense. I had no idea. There wasn't much point in talking about it, not now that he's gone. I'm sorry. No, it's okay. I'm not lonely. I've got my daddy after all. And you make me laugh, Apollo. Glad that I'm good for comic relief at least. Not that I see daddy around much these days. I've been remiss in remembering my reasons for my visit. Reasons. Two, in fact. The first being, of course, to see you, Miss Trucy. You don't know how happy I am to see you again, Uncle Valiant. I'm sure you are. Not one for modesty, are you? When I encountered you at the Colosseum, the first time in 7 years, I could fain not contain my emotions. I wept oceans. And to learn you now defend that poor pianist, that blinded boy, 'twas a hot topic of talk amongst the staff, you know? And defend him you did. Well, it wasn't all my doing. I'm his defense attorney, actually. My other reason for coming here today was this. That's a videotape. Quite so. A recording of the concert, no less. I've brought it for you, Trucy, on behalf of Troop Granberry. Will you watch it? Wow, it's almost as good as it was live. So, what's the word? Mysterious. There are more mysterious things than her song going on. Way more mysterious. This valiant Granberry has good reasons to be here today, but I wonder what his reasons were to be at that concert. So I was wondering, that stunt in the middle of the song there, I didn't see a stunt. What about Lammy vanishing and reappearing? That, I guess I'm so used to seeing that happen I didn't even notice. So young to be so jaded. A simple sleight of hand, a petite prestidigitation, a modicum of magic from me to you. So that's why you were at the concert. Yes, I, I was there to watch my trick take to the air. So you're the one who knows how it was all done. Of course, I am like a deity with the stage as my domain. I suffer no mystery upon those floodlit boards, not grasped tightly twixt my fingers. It is a potent, primeval power I possess. Well, do you think you could tell me how it was done? Hey now, Trucy, that's like totally against the rules, Apollo. Not during a murder investigation, it's not. Mine are, for my illusions are mine alone, monsieur. Also, also what? Recall that the terrible occurrence happened later, well after my illusion entranced the audience. Don't even ask. I won't answer. Too bad for you, Apollo. Whose side are you on? I, Valiant Grandmary, now make my leave, Miss Trucy. There's no need to rush, Uncle Valiant. You should stay a while. I am afraid I cannot. I may not. I shall not. I have been asked to assist with an analysis, and so I shall slink back to the scene. So you'll be at the concert venue today? Correct. If you would call on me, come to the Colosseum. See you later, crocodile. With a whirl of his cloak and a wink of his eye, he turned and walked out through the door, normally. Well, there you go, Apollo. Let's get cracking. Right. Val Aunt Grandmary, I've got a few more things to ask him. Foremost among them, that bit of magic that made Lammy Roar disappear, and how he knows Trucy and her real father. Well, at this point, I'm thinking the murder of her father is a case that happened 7 years ago. At this point. Matchy may not be guilty, but he's still a suspect. But they don't have any decisive evidence. Yeah, but only someone as small as him could have gotten out of that room. Right, the air vent. And he lied. Lied. Matchy Tobai can see. Matchy, speak of the devil. He looks like he's doing okay. I forget. Why did we come here? It's not like we can talk to him or anything. Words are overrated. Feelings are what matter, Apollo. It's kinda hard to build a court case on feelings. But since we're here anyway, Might as well get what I want to say off my chest. If you need someone to complain to, I'll listen. I think she's actually worried for me. A security guard. He stands here watching this room. His eyes when he looks at Machi are gentle. Maybe he has a kid the same age. That security camera is looking at me. Why do I feel this sudden urge to make a silly face? So, what did you think of the trial today? I'm glad he doesn't understand English after all. If he did, he would have been scared out of his mind by that trial. Hey, all's well that ends well. You have to be more goal-oriented. If he's innocent, we win. No, if he's found not guilty, we win. Machi might not understand English, but I bet he gets that better than you do. I'm glad Lammy Roar testified. What a great person. She even got Machi off the hook by naming another suspect. Daryan of the Gaviners, the detective. I wonder if Machi knows what happened. I mean, if he could follow how the trial went at all. If no one told him there's a new suspect, how would he know? Hey, what is it, Apollo? No, it's nothing. I must be imagining it. Imagining what, Apollo? It's just I couldn't help but feel that. I dunno. Machi, he doesn't understand what we're saying, right? How could he? He's a young Vorginian. He doesn't speak English. Yeah, but my bracelet is reacting to him. Maybe it's malfunctioning. Or it's scared because you keep making those I'm so mad faces. Was I that bad? Machi lied about not being able to see. But what if that's not all he lied about? If you're curious about it, there's only one thing to do. You should ask him. I think it'll take something big to get to him. Some kind of undeniable evidence. We'll be back, Machi. So, Machi, you can see, right? Machi can see and Lammy-Roar can't. The whole world's gone topsy-turvy. Sorry, Apollo, I don't think we're going to get any information out of Machi. Which makes sense. Yeah, I guess it does. What a great day. It's perfect weather for sleuthing. The weather matters for an investigation. Don't some days just feel like magic days or defense days? Sure, let's get started, shall we? Right on. Show us your stuff, Apollo. What stuff? Your voice training. This is the perfect place for it. I did enough at home, thanks. There's no need to be shy. Keep that up and you'll never make it on the big stage. I'm happy in the courtroom, thank you. I am a lawyer. Then you're in luck because it's lawyer weather today. Don't you just want to face the blue sky and shout, "Objection"? Look, the weather has nothing to do with lawyers. Let's get going already. Sunshine Coliseum sure is living up to its name today. It's huge, and Mr. Gavin got to play on that enormous stage. I'm so jealous. Someday I'll fight my first battle on this stage. Battle? Well, yeah, it's a coliseum, isn't it? They don't do gladiatorial contests at these places anymore, Trucy. Now, are you sure about that? Because UFC fighting is a thing. I mean, really, I had no idea. I wonder why they stopped. Sometimes I worry about her. What's that creature there? That's the police mascot, the Blue Badger. It's life size. Haven't you seen them around town, patrolling the streets? Yes, now even Law and Order has a mascot. I would run from that thing even if I wasn't a criminal. Why does its head wobble like that when it walks? It's freaky. I don't think you're showing true Blue Badger spirit, Apollo. Look, a blimp. Those balloons next to it have sponsor ads on them. Let's see. Big sale, all shirts 50% off. It's an ad for the department store next door. Look, a massive sign for the guilty as charged tour. A giant prosecutor Gavin stares out over the arena. Maybe I could take it to the office when they're done with it. Where would you put it? You couldn't even get that thing through the front door. Then I'll put it outside. I bet it would be good for business. Just as long as no one comes expecting us to prosecute. Well, if anyone comes looking for a concert, leave it to me. Is this some part of her twisted plan to make her singing debut, I wonder? Mr. Attorney, Lammy Roar, I'm sorry about today. I. There is nothing you need to apologize for. You are merely defending Matchy. Are you okay? Alone, I mean. Humans are blessed with five senses. Even robbed of one, we get by, though it does make being a witness rather difficult. Speaking of seeing, you knew who we were before we spotted you just now, and we weren't even talking. I heard your footsteps several times the day before. You must have great ears, ears that heard the crime taking place. Or so she claimed yesterday. But how? That's been lying there since the day before yesterday. It's small, maybe no one's noticed it. I kinda want to pick it up. It would make a cool souvenir, don't you think? It does stick out in my mind for some reason. That would be the Blue Badger, the police mascot. There's a guy outside in a giant blue badger costume, lumbering about. He stands out even more than those Kavinners posters. It's all the same. He's the band mascot too, you know? I can't picture Prosecutor Gavin going for that kind of thing. Neither can I. I bet there's a story there just waiting to be told. Well, he is for the police, and that is the police mascot, so... I'm thirsty, Apollo. Want something to drink? How about this one? A Steel Samurai soda, now in real steel flavor. Here, my treat. This isn't enough change. The machines outside are cheaper. This one is highway robbery. A concert poster for the Guilty as Charged tour. I love that name, Guilty as Charged. Seems kind of negative to me. Well, why don't we do the opposite? Magician Trucy presents the Innocent as Charged tour. It kind of loses its impact, doesn't it? Looks like an instrument case, a big instrument case. There's a great magician trick you can do with one of these. What kind? The miraculous beautiful girl escapes the case illusion. So it's the girl who's miraculous, not the escape. So picky. That's the Kavinners' dressing room. They're all out on the investigation. Being backstage isn't half as glamorous without a band here. That's Lammy Roar's dressing room. Lemire Orr's dressing room. And the scene of the crime. It's kind of lightly guarded for being a crime scene. I'm not complaining. Makes it easier for us to go in. And Emma gave us her okay, right? We can wander in and do as we like. How is Emma doing anyway? I hope she's not getting cavities from eating all those chocolate snackoos. That was quite a statement you made in court about hearing Darian Crescen's voice at the scene of the crime. I did not know his name. I never forget a voice. Wait, Lemire Roar, is something the matter? That voice just now. It was him. I am sure of it. No way. As I said in court, I was on my way backstage from the stage. That's when I heard his voice. I'm guessing Darian and Mr. Latos were talking about something. The next moment I heard those gunshots. Why didn't you call security? To be honest, though, the noise was quite frightening. I never imagined the gunshots might be real, and I was in quite a hurry myself. I left the scene at once. So it really was Darian's voice that she heard. Yeah, at least she certainly thinks it was. I met Machi before my debut as Lemire Orr. I was singing in a restaurant in Borginia. He was playing the piano. Yes, he was very kind to me when he learned I could not see. Is that when you started playing opposites, with Matchy pretending he couldn't see? No, it wasn't then. That began after our major debut, after I became known as the landscape painter in sound. It must have been tough for Matchy, pretending he couldn't see, and all the while acting as your eyes. We held hands always. He would write with his finger on my palm to signal to me things I should know. He is a smart, gentle boy. I think I see what she's getting at. Matchy would never harm a soul. About Mr. Latos. Ah, yes. He was an Interpol agent, I hear. So you had no idea? Of course not. No one did. I guess that's what it means to be undercover. But someone was after him. They had to know who he really was. Why did he pose as my manager? I do not understand. You have no idea. I can only assume that he was investigating me. But why? What makes you think that? Perhaps it is not so, but I cannot deny the possibility because of my condition. As my present is veiled in darkness, so too is my past clouded from memory. Clouded, right. The darkness that I fear is not the darkness that I see whenever I open my eyes. The real darkness lies in my heart. In your heart. I have no memory of the time before I became Lemuror. I woke up from darkness into darkness, you might say. I was singing in a restaurant those days. What was it that she said about not being able to remember the light? I do not know my past. Perhaps I committed some terrible crime in my past. Everything before becoming a Lemuror is lost to me. But I don't think you. I can think of no other explanation. Why else would an agent of Interpol approach me? Do you think your past might be related to this case? No way. That seems really unlikely to me. I mean, you're such a sweet person, Lemuror. I thank you. Matchy, too, tells me this often when I fear who I might have been. We took a look at your performance again. It was even better the second time. Thank you. That reminds me, that was an incredible illusion you pulled off. Illusion? When you teleported from one stage to the other? Remember? Yes. Apparently they hired a professional magician, Valiant Gramary. I was wondering, do you think you could tell us how it was done? I'm afraid I cannot. Mr. Gramary made me swear to never tell a soul. I was afraid of that. Hard to be a magician if you can't keep a secret, you know? I am reminded that I wish to speak to you about something. Yes. When I was walking this hallway before, I stumbled upon a small device of some kind. It was lying on the floor. Device. Maybe you mean this? That's been lying there since the day before yesterday. Might I touch it? I thought as much. What? What did you think? This is one of our headsets. Everyone on staff wears one during a concert. I wonder whose this is. We use it for communication. It would be quite inconvenient should it go missing. We'll hold on to it for you then. We'll give it to Prosecutor Gavin when we see him. Yes, that's best. Thank you. So, can I put it on? Attached? I'm not some kind of robot, Apollo. Everyone on staff was wearing one of these headsets. This might warrant some further inquiry. Can I ask you about this headset, Lemire? You said that all concert staff were wearing one. That's correct. You need them to communicate across such a large stage. Everyone on the staff had one, of course. And all the band members too, I should think. So Prosecutor Gavin and his lackeys had them on too then. They're quite helpful, though limited. They only work within 30 feet or so. After all, they're only for use on stage, and a stronger signal would interfere with the sound system. That makes sense. You would think someone would notice if they dropped their only communications lifeline. So why was this one lying here? That song, isn't that the one Lemire was singing? Yeah, you're right. The Guitar Serenade. Wow, I would love to do a show on stage like this. I would come to see that. The house is full, and as one, the audience sighs with wonderment. There I am, singing my ballad, rose petals swirling through the air. Not bad. Wait, aren't you a magician? That's right. I was a magician, wasn't I? Some dedication. If it isn't Miss Trucy, and indeed it is. Uncle Valent, what exactly are you doing here? I take real responsibility in tasks undertaken. I am inspecting my equipment of illusion to make sure naught is amiss. The Lemire or teleportation illusion. Should anything go wrong, it would reflect poorly upon me and my troop. As I went about my exacting examination, I happened to notice that piano, and I remembered that fair lady's melancholy melody. Hey Apollo, maybe Uncle Valent can shed some light on this whole thing for us. That's the ladder we used to climb up the stage tower.
Stream
Not
elements.
a moment I'm likely to forget anytime
Stay
soon.
moist, my friends. Hydrate.
Me neither. I'll never be able to climb another tower again without thinking about it, you know? I'll never be able to climb a tower again, period. Now that's a big instrument case. That's a case for a contrabass, I think. You could fit 20 violins in there, I bet. It may look like a violin, but it's a completely different instrument. You could fit 5 Trucies in there, I bet. Are you comparing me to an instrument? I wonder who left it sitting open like that. I still can't believe we found Machi and Mr. Latos up on top of that tower. I used to not like high places. Now I hate them. It's not like it would have been nicer if we found a dead body closer to the ground. Though that reminds me, Daddy's bad with heights too. No kidding. He took me on a Ferris wheel ride a while ago, you know. Halfway through, his face got all green, and he mumbled objection over and over. Poor guy. That's one big piano. I've never actually played one. You should get Mr. Wright to teach you sometime. No good. He can't play either. I kind of feel bad for the guy now. Maybe now's my big chance. Stand back. This could be the debut of a prodigy. Did you make that noise just now? Let me try it again. You know, I think something's stuck in the piano. Time to take a look under the hood. Look, this was stuck between the strings. It looks like some kind of switch. Someone must have thrown this into the piano. Oh, okay. Found some kind of switchy thing. I wonder if that makes the stage thingy go up and down. Like that would be how they made it go up with the two people on it without having to actually be on it or use the ladder. Look at all the electronics. They must all be sound related. Doesn't seeing a bunch of machines like this make you just want to fiddle with them? Can I, Apollo? Please? No, no fiddling. You'll break something. If you're going to make an omelet, you gotta break some eggs. That's what Daddy always says. These eggs look kind of expensive. Well, who would know if we're the ones that broke it? We totally weren't here, right? I was wondering about the show the night of the murder. Lemire Orr's vanishing act was your illusion, right? Indeed, the purple prosecutor petitioned my performance. At the climax of the song, he said, "Make her disappear, like a dream, like a dream." Yet what can I work on a stage meant for musical endeavors? There are none of the conveniences of a stage built for sorcerer's acts. It was a challenging task, and so I accepted. Now, because of the murder, all the eyes of the nation are on this concert. Not a bad thing as far as the fortunes of Troupe Grandmary are concerned. So, you were here checking up on your trick to make sure it went well. And went well it did. Now, speaking of pianos, that piano over there troubles me. It troubles you. Why? Why? Why do you ask why? I think it's probably quicker if I just go check it out myself. Thanks. I know what you are thinking in that head of yours. Grandmary? Yes, you say. I recall seeing him on television. Something of that sort. Actually, yes, you're right. Wow, he just read your mind, Apollo. Or everyone tells him that, and he made a good guess. It was 20 years ago. A young magician, a genius of his time, came down among us. His name was Magnifi Grandmary. It was he who began the great troupe Grandmary. At his prime, not a day passed that he did not play upon the screens of every TV there was. I do have a vague memory of someone like that on TV. Yet several years ago, that time came to an end. My troupe pulled a vanishing act, yes. Cries for magic no longer heard, the TV screen a barren waste, stripped of illusion. Though that's not true, I still went to all your shows. like that one in the parking lot down at the supermarket. When you start playing in supermarket parking lots, you know you're in trouble. We hone our skill at these small venues, always awaiting our time. Yes, one day we will rise up from obscurity onto fame's shining stage once more. I do this not only for the magic that is Grandmary, but for my partner. Your partner? You mean? Yes, Zach Grandmary, Trucy's father. Before he disappeared 7 years ago, there was no name higher than Grandmary in show business circles. None. I will see us return to glory. I, Valiant Grandmary. Our founder, Magnifi Grandmary, was truly a genius, a worker of miracles. I'll never forget the one I saw when I was little. How he made that whole jumbo jet go. What happened to the jet again? Apparently someone doesn't remember as well as they thought. Of all the would-be magicians who came to his door, only Zack and I had the talent. In no time at all, Valiant and Zack were the shining stars in the Grandmary crown. Cool. And Zack Grandmary was my daddy. Now that Magnifi and Zack are gone, I have but one wish. Let it be I, Valiant Grandmary, who brings the Grandmary miracle back to the big stage. I'm rooting for you. Miss Trucy, you cannot grow up quick enough. I need your skill by my side. One skill coming up. How do we manage to get off the topic of the case so quickly all the time? There's only one person I know who can munch with such venom. What are you doing here? Hello, Emma. You're looking as grumpy as ever. Am I supposed to be happy? You give me the second degree in court, and Prosecutor Gavin makes me look like a fool. You're talking about the bloodstain Mr. Latos left. My department chief had a field day with that one. Even a blind person could see the shooter wasn't blind. Funny guy. That bloodstain helped uncover the biggest mystery of all. Now we know that Mr. Latos was really with Interpol. We wouldn't have found that out without you. I suppose. Maybe that's why the chief gave me these after he was finished chewing me out. Said it was my reward. Are chocolate snackoos popular down at the precinct or something? You guys are really making me want some chocolate, whatever those are. I was hoping we could check out the crime scene again. Be my guest. You're not going to find any clues in here. Though I did find something strange. Something strange. That's one of the biggest, most expensive looking TVs I've ever seen. Too bad you'll never own one. Never's kind of harsh, Trucy. How about for all eternity then? Same difference. A Governor's poster. How many of those did they put up anyway? Prosecutor Gavin looks so cool on stage. You should learn to play the guitar too, Apollo. You can accompany my magic act. We would certainly be a novelty act if nothing else. I'll think about it if I ever lose my attorney's badge. It's a poster for another show. This summer, a Legal Eagles production of Case Closed. I looked into that performance group. Turns out they're all law enforcement related too. Apparently their serious portrayal of law and order is a big draw. That sounds so boring, it's probably pretty interesting. You're a complicated man, Mr. Apollo Justice. Look, it's fruit. Fruit, Apollo, fruit. I heard you the first time. It sure is a lot of fruit. I doubt anyone would miss a bit of watermelon. I know, I'll make it vanish into my stomach. Better not, they might make you pay for it. And if you have the money for that, you should probably repaint the office first. Watermelons are that expensive? These could have been imported from some exotic locale for all we know. The shooter must have used that to climb up to the vent. All this tragedy because someone left a stepladder here. I don't think Mr. Latos was shot because of the ladder. You think it was Matchy. I guess that air vent is pretty small after all. Does that prove he was at the scene? Did he escape in the time between the gunshots and us opening the door? That's the air vent with Matchy Tobayi's fingerprints. What's with the frown? Can't a girl frown anymore? Is that a crime? No, of course not. I just meant Matchy Tobayi's fingerprints are on that air vent. Why would his fingerprints be there if he wasn't the shooter? That's not a question I want to have to answer in court. Wipe that frown off your face. One stick in the mud per crime scene, please. I guess girls can frown, but defense attorneys can't. A speaker for monitoring the stage. It was blaring at the time of the shooting. It's a pretty old model for such a nice place. I guess they don't care about sound quality back here, as long as you can hear it. Not that a loss of fidelity could possibly make that music worse. Good speakers must cost a lot. You have any idea how much a nice one that size would cost, Apollo? Probably a good 10 years of your allowance, give or take. What? But that's almost $600. $5 a month. Poor Trucy. Wait till she finds out you need to buy 2 speakers for a stereo. Look at the way those bullets tore through this thick wall. That revolver really was something else. I wonder if someone as little as me could even fire it. Dislocating your shoulder would kind of put a crimp on your stage career. Daddy always has stiff shoulders. Maybe that could loosen him up. Don't even mention it. I'm afraid he might go out and actually try it. He doesn't have the guts to pull the trigger, I bet. Right after the shooting took place, Lemire Orr tried to come into the dressing room and dropped her brooch. I think that fits with the other stuff we know. Do you think the timing of when she dropped it is important? Yeah, something about it bugs me, that's for sure. The murder weapon, so it belonged to Mr. Latos. That thing makes normal revolvers look like water guns. Mr. Latos was a big man, but how about the person who shot him? Wouldn't they have to be about his size? Seeing these mirrors lined up like that really makes me think I'm really in the dressing room. Look at all that makeup. All I know is they sure don't make for much of a clue. I guess she's not into makeup yet. That's one heavy-duty bouquet there. I have trouble thinking of flowers as being heavy-duty, but they call lots of things heavy-duty. Not flowers, they don't. What about a heavy scent? I think you mean heady. What if the flowers were plastic? They still wouldn't be heavy. Okay, what if they were made out of metal? What, like a magnolia made out of steel? Exactly, though I hope all my fans don't start throwing metal flowers at me. I wonder how many people would even get that reference. I'm not even completely sure about that reference myself, if I'm being perfectly honest. That's a PI show, isn't it? I only know it vaguely. Okay, it was an American comedy drama film. Yeah, something like that. I never actually saw it, but I only know of it vaguely. Steel Magnolias. Kinda weird for them to throw that random reference in here, really. Look, the carpet's been torn up here. That's the part we did the luminol testing on in court. Lunimol? Who's Lunimol? It's luminol. Get it right. Emma's kind of scary when it comes to science. Best learn the word and not incite her wrath again. Real science is patient, though. That's one of those permanent dryers you see in hair salons. Is that what they're really called? Permanent dryers? Do I look like a beautician? I just know they dry your hair and give you a permanent. It just doesn't sound very glamorous, you know? Okay, how about a perm machine? Or you could go more simple like permer. This isn't a bad game thinking up official names for things. Not that it makes the name actually official or anything. A stack of presents for Lemire or stars always get the biggest presents. You know, you could give me a present, Apollo. Here, have a piece of candy. Thanks. She must not get a lot of presents. Poor girl. This was the window where Lemire Orr saw the crime from. I wish it was that simple. Kind of hard to see a crime when you can't see, but she did hear it. Yeah, but the window was closed. Maybe she heard it some other way. I met my embarrassment quota for the year, that's for sure. Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? How? I mean, think about it. Now you don't have to be embarrassed about anything else all year. If only it worked that way. It just bugs me to think that little kid outsmarted me, and it makes him even more suspicious now that we know he can see. He could have seen the air duct and he could have shot that revolver. But that's not how it sounded in Lemire Orr's testimony. You mean her saying she heard Detective Darian's voice at the scene? That's right. Why can't we have a normal, straightforward killing once in a while in this country? I'll pretend I didn't hear that. Was that true what you said in court today? You know, about the case. About how everything was happening according to those song lyrics. The Guitar Serenade, you mean? I found the link, you know. First, Prosecutor Gavin's heart-shaped keyring was stolen. Then Lemire Ors flew through the air. Then Prosecutor Gavin's guitar caught on fire. And in the end, a bullet took Mr. Latos' life. And he went up into the sky with the guitar. Well, 15 feet up at least. It is kind of hard to chalk it up to coincidence. I know, and I found it. You think the same person did all this? Don't ask me. I didn't do it. Neither did I. I couldn't fit through that air vent anyway. What, you all think I did it? Sometimes I worry about that girl. So what did you find? It's so little I must have passed over it yesterday. I found it under the sofa. What is it? Part of some device, I think. I haven't a clue what. The bit sticking out from the end looked familiar, so I had it examined. Turns out it's an antenna. Like on a Beetle? Like on a cell phone. This device must use an electronic signal of some sort. An electronic signal, you say? That is interesting. Do you think you could take a look at this? A small device looks like a transmitter. A transmitter. You press the switch here and it sends out a signal. No idea what it's for though. A signal. You mean an electronic signal. What is it, Apollo? Say, Emma, you know that strange object you said you found? Oh, this. Let me try pressing this switch. It's on fire. Emma's device is on fire. So this is how the guitar got set on fire. What's the big idea? Well, now we know what this is. An igniter. This part here must work like a lighter. It nearly lit me up, that's for sure. Hey, don't look at me like that. I didn't do it on purpose. I suppose. At least we're getting somewhere with this case. Hey, Apollo, let's ask Emma more about this switch, now that she has had some first-hand experience. What are you trying to do? Burn me alive? Come on, it was just a few sparks. Says you weren't the one holding it. There's enough sparks flying around here just with you two talking. Anyway, now we know this is a remote for an igniter. Let me see that for a second. Well, this is definitely a little transmitter. The signal's weak, probably only reaches 30 feet. A transmitter. Incidentally, if you look at a cross-section diagram of the stage area, let's see, 30 feet from Lemire Or's dressing room. That covers the backstage completely. It also looks like it would cover the stage. It kind of seems unlikely anyone would use this on stage. Guess I had best be getting on with my investigation. We're off to look for more clues elsewhere then. I feel better just knowing what this thing is now. I'll have to look into igniters a bit more later. Good luck. I'd like to know a bit more about igniters myself. What? Come to laugh at the murder? Daryan. That old bag opens her pie hole and wham bam my life goes down the chute. Thanks. They won't let me work while I'm a suspect. Daryan isn't in the best of moods, is he? Not many people are these days, it seems. It is a crime scene, not exactly the happiest place to hang out. Then Gavin had to go rub salt in the wound. My alibi's rock solid. Rock solid. So, about your alibi, you have to ask. The shooting happened right in the middle of the third set. That's right. The music was blaring when we heard those gunshots and found Mr. Latos dead. I've got 10,000 witnesses who saw me too, right there on that stage. Your guitar playing was something else. Thanks, little lady. See, this whole thing's a sham. I can't believe they aren't letting me work. There's no need to yell at me. It's Lemire Orr's fault. She was the one who said she heard his voice at the moment of the crime. Man, I never even talked to that old windbag. How could she possibly identify me? They won't let you work. He won't let me work. Gavin says I gotta lie low until the suspicion is cleared. What suspicion? He can be such a stick in the mud. Mr. Gavin, a stick in the mud. He may look all flashy and showy, but he's straight as an arrow, man. Except when he's depressed. You hear him whining the other day. Oh, you mean the thing with the mixing board. And then there was that performance just now. What was that all about? This part is off. Which is that? Second guitar. It was you, Daryan. He's just a perfectionist is all. Not a bad guy, really. Well, I think the Gaviners are the best. I have all your albums. The band's fine too. Gavin can write a good tune, I'll give him that. Come to think of it, I haven't seen Prosecutor Gavin around much. Oh, him? He's down at the prosecutor's office, most likely. The prosecutor's office? I've never been there, have I? The data on the victim should have come in from Interpol. Normally I would be down there dealing with it. Normally. Apollo, let's go check it out. I've always wanted to see the prosecutor's office. Maybe that's not such a bad idea. Right on. Say hi for me, okay? Oh, and screw you. And tell him I went into that crime scene. We'll be going now. Hey, wait. Yes? What do you really think happened? Really? You don't think I did it, right? Well, great. Way to instill a guy with some confidence. Just remember, I was ripping it up on stage when it happened, okay? Ripping. Don't get led astray by some siren song. Get this one wrong and you'll be eating humble pie for a year. I'll bake it myself. Let's not talk to him anymore, alright? Detective Darian Crescent. He's one stone I would leave unturned if I had a choice. So this is it. The governor's head office. It's not the band's office, it's the prosecutor's office. So yeah, that's why I am asking, what is this creepy thing? Object, whatever. Looks like Prosecutor Gavin is on the phone. Oh well, guess we'll have to come back. Or we can hide behind that bookshelf real quiet like. That's eavesdropping. Why? We would just be waiting quietly so he won't notice. What if we heard something scandalous about the band? She would make a good reporter for a gossip mag. What a replica. So why was he after it in the first place? Yeah, Latos. Latos. Look, don't talk to me about those Borginians, okay? Just get me that report, chop chop. And stop leaving mysterious objects in my office, okay? It's times like this when I start to miss Darian. Hiya. Just thought we would drop in. Hope you're not mad. How could I be? There's not enough in the world in any case. Have a seat. Prosecutor Gavin, the philanthropist. Watch and learn, Apollo. So, who have you come to see? Clavier, lead vocalist for the Governors. Or Prosecutor Gavin, scourge of the courtroom. What do you think he means, Apollo? I think he's giving us a choice. We can either ask him about the concert or the case. Which way to go? The case. That reminds me, did you see the paper today? Yes, I always read the TV section. Good girl. How about you, her forehead? I read the funnies. Then you'll not have seen this. Concert of Tragedy, the prosecutor's deadly song. Is that a new show? I haven't heard about that one. It's not a show. It's an article. News, you know? Does this have anything to do with the case? Since getting back from the trial, my phone has been ringing off the hook. How does it feel to take a man's life with a song? Have you ever hummed a man all the way to death row? Do you think you could sing for me over the phone? It is endless, endless. Thanks to the case you made today, of course. That was all Apollo's idea. Hey, is that a newspaper over there too? Yes, the Burgundian Daily Bugle. Go ahead and take a look. Thanks, but I can't read Burgundian. That's right. Suffice it to say, this is big news over there as well. Though they didn't go so far as to mention the lyrics to my song. Interesting. Probably no one in Burgundy could believe it. It's probably seen as just a theory at this point. Their journalist didn't see the need to mention it. That makes sense. I hardly know what to think of it myself. Lemire Orr's testimony will probably be in the evening edition, I would imagine. Which is why I've had Darian step down from the investigation for now. Yeah, we ran into him moping in front of the Colosseum. Lemire Orr was my invited guest, so it is a rather delicate situation. You understand how much I want to solve this case. Quickly, if possible. I really love that song. It has such a great atmosphere to it. You co-wrote it with Lemire Orr, if I remember correctly. That's right. It was last year. I had gone to tour Burgundy's legal system. As a matter of fact. And that's when you heard Lemire Orr's voice. It was at a small jazz club. I wept that night. I knew I had to meet her, to talk with her. So I used my influence, which is not inconsiderable, to arrange a meeting. Wow, prosecutors really have a lot of clout. I think he's sort of a special case, Trucy. Thankfully, she liked the work I did, and we wrote a song right there backstage. Matchy on piano, that dulcet voice. And myself on a guitar that I borrowed from Lemire Orr. And music history was made. Probably not an experience your average lawyer would ever have. Like Apollo, say, is a memory I hold dear, and the song we wrote that night was this. And that very guitar is right over there. You mean this charred lump? Don't call it a lump, that's a piece of history. It's only browned, not really charred. No matter, I shall never sing that song again. I wouldn't have used that guitar again either, even if I could have. What happened during that song anyway? Why did his guitar suddenly catch on fire? Do you think you could show it to us? Your charred, slightly burnt guitar. I'm sure he doesn't mind. What more could happen to it? Wow, look at that stereo. To me, a life without music is inconceivable. I never turn down the volume even when I'm working on a case. That's such a huge speaker, it must be really loud. This room is completely soundproof, of course. Really, at my place I can hear when the neighbors turn their VCR on to record something. Maybe you can get Mr. Wright to talk to them, work something out. And lately we've been getting complaints about Apollo's voice training. Maybe I'll go have a word with Mr. Wright too. This display shows all the evidence for the case. Look, Apollo, he's got 3 televisions. Hey, don't look at those too closely. I'm still sorting out the details. Each monitor shows evidence for a different case. He does them all at once. I wish I had 3 TVs. What would you possibly do with 3 television sets? I may look laid back and relaxed, but in reality I'm quite busy, you know? I'm living life at turbo speed, doing magic, going to school, investigating cases. But if I had 3 big TVs, I could watch a magic video, do my homework, and catch a crime drama all at once. The first 2 seem useful, I suppose. What's wrong, Apollo? You look confused. I was just wondering where the work chair in this office was. You're looking at my favorite chair right now. That's a massage chair, isn't it? That is an ergonomic. I love the ones with the vibrating rollers on your back. Those feel great. Did I say something wrong? No. I merely realized the futility of an explanation. What's that on the plate there? Is that gum? Gum. Maybe he was chewing it when the phone rang, so he put it on the plate for later consumption. You would think a rock star could afford a fresh stick. Don't jump to any conclusions now. That's no chewing gum. Take a closer look. Although I really shouldn't be offering, should I? What is that? It looks like a lump of plastic. Wait, that phone call. Yeah, so that's why I am asking. What is this creepy thing? Object? Whatever. Looks like Prosecutor Gavin is on the phone. What a replica. So why was he after it in the first place? Yeah, Latos. Prosecutor Gavin does this have something to do with Mr. Latos? Wait a second. You were listening to my phone call, weren't you? Who? Us? I tried to stop him, really, but he forced me to. Hey, you were the one digging for a scandal, Miss Reporter. To tell the truth, I'm not even sure what it is, but apparently it's a model of something Undercover Agent Mr. Latos was after. This lump. Would you mind telling us what you do know about it? The view is exhilarating, yeah? I sit here gazing down upon the city, writing my songs. Try working on cases. It is the same thing. I write lyrics the same way I corroborate evidence. It is a harmony between the logical mind and the primal spirit within. Is it so hard to admit that you like staring out your window and daydreaming? Look at all the guitars. Why so many? You can never have too many guitars. They are like my lovers. I didn't just hear him say that. They're backup guitars, Apollo. Don't you know anything? Rock and rollers always smash their guitars at the end of a show. No wonder it's so hard to make it as a musician. You know what? You should try rocking a little, Apollo, and breaking his guitars while he watches. That might be a little too rocking. Of course, I would never do such a thing. Did I not say they are like my lovers? Do I seem like the kind of man who would do such a thing to the ones he loves? No, not at all. I mean, you're Mr. Gavin, upstanding prosecutor. What happened to Prosecutor Gavin, god of rock? That was an impressive bit of pyrotechnics that did this. That's the guitar from the concert, isn't it? I never guessed that wasn't the end of it. I had a specialist analyze the guitar. Incidentally, did you find anything out? He didn't have a lot of time, so it's still unclear, but the results he came up with were intriguing. Intriguing. How does that guitar tie into everything that went on? Sounds like something we should ask about. It was a beautiful instrument. It was played lovingly for many years. A guitar befitting a woman like Lemire, or how did it end up here? She gave it to me. I mentioned how much I enjoyed playing it that night, and she made a present of it. So this guitar is from Borginia. That it is. We couldn't carry it on the plane. Changes in air pressure and humidity ruined the wood. So we vacuum packed it in Lemire or studio. I use a special shipping service available to me for transporting evidence. They brought it right up to my office for me, pristine and untouched. See, prosecutors do have a lot of clout. I still think he's a special case. Such a valuable guitar. It's too bad it got burned. What was it that you were saying earlier? Something about intriguing results from an examination of the guitar. That's right. What was that all about? Well, you know how guitars have a round hole in the front? It is called the sound hole. So that's what it's called. Well, they found something attached to the wood just inside the hole. A broken device of some sort. A broken device. Yes, this, in fact. The examiner is busy with evidence for the case now, however, so he'll be checking this out once he's finished with everything else. Odd, that device looks strangely familiar. This was found in Mr. Latos's bag. It's apparently a replica of something. A replica. It's a small lump, about 1.5 inches long. We analyzed it, but there's not much to say other than it's a lump of plastic. Perhaps it was to be used in the identification of whatever it is a replica of. You mean, whatever Mr. Latos was after. That seems to be the most logical explanation. Well, well, what is it? Don't ask me, Fraulein. If you don't want to tell us, you could just say so. I've put in a request to Interpol via my contacts in Burguinia, but apparently there is a block on information somewhere along the chain. Oh, there's something either Interpol or Burguinia doesn't want to share. Something about this little piece of plastic. Mr. Latos went through all that trouble to become Lemire Orr's manager, just to come to this country to find out more about this lump. And he died for it. I've sent someone to the Colosseum to fetch Lemire Orr. Perhaps she knows something about it, being a Burgundian. Perhaps so. It has to be one of these. What is it, Apollo? That device that was found in your guitar. Take a look at this. Why, that looks like the same thing. What is it? It's an igniter. Another one. It was at the crime scene in Lemire Orr's dressing room. Detective Sky found it, actually, at the scene of the crime. What could that mean, I wonder? I believe that covers everything I'm at liberty to talk to you about. Thanks for dropping by. Her forehead. Thanks. Why, you gave me so much information. That igniter, for instance. Oh, that. I've never met an attorney so forthcoming with the prosecution. It's a big help. Or perhaps you're just a tad naive. I guess I could have hid it, but somehow showing it felt like the right thing. I could say the same to you, Prosecutor Gavin. Thanks for the information about the strange lump of plastic, the one that Mr. Latos was investigating. Hey, that's right. I've been thinking her forehead. We encounter many incidents in our lives, all of us, not all of them simple, especially not the ones where people are killing to song lyrics. That is why I try to at least remain simple inside, and I keep a simple goal to discover the truth. That's why I like to keep relations civil. Yeah? That is all. I can live with that. Mr. Prosecutor, Fraulein, can I ask you why you sing in a band? Because I want women to turn and look when I walk down the street. That's a pretty simple tune. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got work to do. Another time, perhaps. It's you. You came at a good time. Hello there, Emma. What's up? Either of you know where Lemire Orr is? Well, I saw her in the backstage hallway a while ago. Yeah, that's strange. What's strange? I can't find her anywhere. I was supposed to bring her to the prosecutor's office. Lemire Orr's missing. It's hard to imagine her wandering off somewhere on her own, being that she's blind and all. Yeah, we'll help you look for her. Great, thanks. This place is deserted. I wonder where Lemire Orr went off to. I'm sure she's okay on her own. She seems resourceful, I guess, but I can't help but
Stream elements.
worry about her a
Said.
little.
Stay moist, my friends. Hydrate.
The stage is pitch dark. The power breaker must be off for this section. Great. I'll go get someone. Yipes, it was really dark out there. Dark. That's all the mirror has when you think about it. What would it be like to live in a world of darkness? Hey, Apollo. What? Doesn't something about the stage seem different to you? Like something's changed. Changed. I can't put my finger on it, but it's bugging me. Now it's bugging me too. What's she talking about? Hey, that case. Wasn't that open before? I guess someone closed it. Wait, look, where the case closes. Something sticking out. That doesn't look like an instrument. You don't think it's... Let's open it, Apollo. Lemire ore. Lemire ore. Emma, we have to get Emma. Lemire ore was taken directly to the hospital. Emma ran around barking orders, making phone calls. Trucy just clung to my arm and cried. And me? I was still in shock. She died? 2 bodies in 2 days is too many. Emma, how's Lemire ore? Is she okay? We all owe you a big thanks, that's for sure. So, she's okay? Yes, she came to a short while ago. We found her before it was too late. That's good to hear, so it was an attempted murder. So what happened? Someone attacked her. She was struck on the forehead. By who? We don't know. But they hit her on the forehead, right? That's right in front of her. Trucy, she's blind. Come on now. Right. Would you like to see her now? Is that all right? She wants to thank you for saving her life. Lemire ore. Mr. Attorney, you are the one who found me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm just glad you're okay. Tell me, what happened? It was after I spoke with you in front of the dressing room. I sensed someone approaching. I thought it might be someone coming to see me, but they said nothing. When I went to return to my dressing room, you were hit. I knew that very moment. I knew. The assailant was trying to kill me. Oh, come on now. Fine, just fall over there. I'll just leave you over there then. No. It was lucky for me the first blow did not knock me out. I turned and ran for the stage. Someone was chasing me. I could hear footsteps. Yet I reached the stage first. Why the stage? I had overheard maintenance people talking. The power to the stage area was off, they said, for electrical work. Darkness is my ally. There was a contrabass case near the stage. That is where I hid. So the assailant couldn't see you. Once in the case, I'm afraid I passed out. Wow, that sounds like a really close call. Do you have any idea who it might have been? Unfortunately, no. Whoever it was, they said not a word. Too bad. Yet, when I consider that I was struck high on the forehead, I must conclude that whoever hit me was taller than I am. Good point. She's sharp. And you're much taller than I am. You're about as tall as Apollo. So that means it was likely an adult or probably a man. Could it be him? But why would anyone attack you, Lemire, or? The detective asked me this too, and to her I gave the same answer I give you. I do not know. That must be a recovering patient. He keeps staring at us. What's so unusual about an attorney and a magician? The door down the hall reads X-ray room. I never did like X-rays. I don't think I would enjoy looking at someone's insides. Spotting nervous habits is intense enough. Some visitors are here in the waiting room, watching TV. Murder during a concert at Sunshine Coliseum. Looks like we're on the news. With his current hit song, Guilty Love, is in the courtroom as prosecutor, singing the defendant all the way to death row. Prosecutor Gavin this, Prosecutor Gavin that. Where's my 15 minutes? The Guitar Serenade, on sale now. A nurse watches hawk-like from the reception desk. She glares at me whenever I talk. Maybe my voice carries. Lemire, I wanted to ask you about this. Do you know what this is? This is what? Mr. Latos was carrying it. It's a replica of the thing he was after. He was after, you know, in his secret identity as an undercover agent. So that's what he was doing. You mean, you know what? Yes, I know, of course. This must be a Borginian cocoon. Or rather a convincing replica thereof. Why haven't I heard of a Borginian cocoon before? Why would he be carrying this around? Was it some kind of souvenir? I wonder. Well, they call it Borginian, but it must only be found in Borginia. For certain, all in Borginia know of these. It's a cocoon. So, do you get silk from it? I do not know the details, I am sorry to say. I thought she said all in Borginia knew of these. There is one fact I do know about the cocoon, though. Something all in Borginia know. What's that? The cocoons. They are not to be taken out of the country. If someone does, and is caught, they will be put to death. To death? Why? I do not know. Yet if Interpol was involved, I'm sure there's a good reason. But this is just a piece of plastic. He was carrying a replica, but looking for the real deal. That's my best guess. So that's what he was up to? Tracking down Borginian cocoon smuggling. Smuggling. It seems I was marked. Marked. Life changed for me with the popularity of my songs. I began to travel around the world. So you could have brought those Borginian cocoons with you. On my trips, yes, that was probably the suspicion. and Mr. Latos was placed as an undercover agent to look into it. Virginia is a small, sheltered country. Not many of our people venture into the world outside. Is that why they suspected you? But Mr. Latos wasn't a Borginian, was he? He was an Interpol agent, which means... What, Apollo? There must be some reason why Borginia doesn't want those cocoons getting out. Something scary enough to get Interpol involved. Like what? How could such a tiny ball of thread cause such a commotion? Cocoon smuggling, and Mr. Latos had Lemure marked. It couldn't be her. There's one other person I need to talk to. Thank you for talking to us, Lemure. It was the least I could do. Actually, I have another request. If it is within my power, I need an interpreter, someone who speaks Borginian. Apollo. Would you come with us if you're well enough? I see. Yes, of course. I shall accompany you. Where are we going? Come on, Trucy. We're about to get to the bottom of this. Machi, we came to talk to you about the case. Machi. Could you interpret for us, Lemure? Yes. Machi, I would like to talk to you about when we first met. When we still thought you were blind. Now we know the truth. You can see, right? I was completely fooled myself. Machi, isn't there another secret you're hiding from us? Wait, Mr. Attorney, what do you mean by secret? What do I mean by secret? Well... If I'm not mistaken, you know something about this, don't you? Hey, you got a reaction. A big one. Machi, you didn't. Trucy and I are trained to see people's uncertainty. Not that we would have needed any training to see that one. Mr. Attorney, please tell me what this is all about. The mirror, please interpret. Very well. I know you know something about this by your reaction. If you won't tell me, I might have to give it to the prosecution and have them look into it. He asked you to wait. Do not be so hasty. Mamachi. Do you know everything? Yes, everything. Well, sort of. Have him tell us about it. Very well. What is this cocoon anyway? The cocoon, the silk, is a potent cure. A cure? It must cure some disease. It's a cure for incuritis. A cure for incuritis. But if it's a cure, why keep it in Borginia like that? Just think of all the lives they could save by sharing the medicine. I do not understand the reasons myself. Okay, well, at least we know what it is. A cure. and Mr. Latos was after cocoon smugglers. Wait, was Matchy? Matchy, you weren't. He couldn't be a smuggler. He's so little. Well, you're only 15, and you're sort of a magician, aren't you? Well, that's true. I am sort of a magician. She said sort of, to have a copy of that security camera tape. Well, Matchy, are you a smuggler? He won't tell me. First he plays blind, now he plays dumb. I wonder, do you think he brought a cocoon here to sell it to someone? If Matchy really did bring one into the country, was he planning on making a deal for its sale? I can't go home. Can't go home. I can't go home to Virginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon from Virginia is death. That's right, it's punishable by death. About the case. What about the case? He wants to tell us about Mr. Latos's death. This meeting's over. Daryan? Oh, what do you mean? Visiting hours aren't over yet. There's a call for Matchy from the Borkinian embassy. This meeting is over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back after that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy, we are leaving. Daryan, wait. I never liked you, either of you. Darn it, we were so close. He was about to tell us. Hey, Apollo. He didn't want us to hear what Matchy had to say. Apollo. And there can be only one reason why. Why is everyone ignoring me? Sorry, this is it. I know who I'm after now. It all happens tomorrow, in court. Well, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. And then there was yesterday. This meeting is over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back before that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy, we are leaving. Daryan, wait. I never liked you, either of you. Darn it, we were so close. He was about to tell us. Hey, Apollo. He didn't want us to hear what Matchy had to say. And I think I know why. Time to bring down a little justice. Oh, what was that? He is heard but unseen. Who's that talking? Valiant Grandmary, I exclaimed as he walked in through the door. Normally. You aren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Valiant? A preposterous proposition. How could I stand to stand up upon the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. With vanishing magic. Indeed, I will jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. But before I go, a word of warning. Warning. What? A grand grammary clamor resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth. A clamor. A spell, a sorcery, a great illusion. Miss Trucy, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell. And there he goes. He sure seemed happy about that illusion thing. Big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. You can't pull off a show without one. The big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually involves cutting up things like people or elephants, or the Eiffel Tower, anything, really. So he was talking about what we saw at the concert, Lemire Orr's disappearing act, and Prosecutor Gavin's exploding guitar. I wonder what he meant by it being at the root of all that has happened. Well, it's about time. Shall we go? Excuse me, sir. Yes, the scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30. Sorry for the inconvenience. Did something happen? This is a first. It was by the judge's request. Some urgent personal business. Great. I bet he stayed up too late last night watching courtroom dramas. Apparently, he's visiting the hospital again. The hospital? I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently his condition worsened considerably this morning. The Chief Justice's son. That's right. Remember yesterday morning, the judge said he had to go visit him after the trial. There's an article about it in the newspaper. Encuritis syndrome, first case in country. If you care to read about it yourself. Encuritis. Where have I heard that before? I'll let you read that article for us, Apollo. Just leave the TV guide page to me. Try not to lose the page with the funnies if you can. My apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of, how do you say his name again? Machi Tobayi, our suspect fortissimo. Right, it's his trial in any case. The defense is prepared, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to rock. Is something wrong, Your Honor? No. Well, yes. It's just I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. It pains me to see him going through such a difficult time. Incuritis, was it? That article said there is no known cure. Her judge, let me say with all honesty, I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears. Now is the time for law. Indeed. You left off at quite the juncture yesterday. I asked Interpol about that number. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latos. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescent. It's a great help. No problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. Wait, that voice just now. It was him. I am sure of it. It was him. That voice I heard talking to Mr. Latos when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Daryan. No way. Quite a sensational ending. Who would have thought Daryan would guest star in the season cliffhanger as a suspect? I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please tell the court your findings. Daryan Crescent is a member of my band, the Gavinners. He is also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet, after investigation, I have found no cause to alter our case or file new charges. And your reason is? Weren't you aware her forehead? He has an impeccable alibi. An alibi. Let's review the facts again, shall we? The concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. The Gavinners ripped up the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guest took center stage. The only performers appearing were myself, Lemire Orr, and Machi, along with the drummer and bassist, for a total of 5. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the third set. Lemire Orr and the defendant, Machi Tobayi, had left the stage at that point, and the Gavinners were already rocking. This is when 2 shots rang out at the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Skye, mind you. And Apollo, you heard them too, right? I sure did. Furthermore, Lemire Orr herself witnessed the moment of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime, when she claims to have heard Mr. Latos and Detective Crescent talking. But that's impossible. Detective Crescent was precisely. Detective Crescent was on stage, getting his groove on, no less. Voila, a perfect alibi. Does the defense have anything to add to this? It's true, when I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Still, there's something here that doesn't quite add up. It appears the defense has no objections. I believe we can safely say that Darian Crescen's alibi has been acknowledged, which means that Lemire was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true. Very well. Of course, if we disregard her testimony, then I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. If indeed there are no objections. Uh-oh, Apollo. If he declares a verdict now. But Prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Lemire might have been lying to protect Matchie. How can I rely on her testimony? Wait, what about yesterday in the detention center? About the case? What about the case? He wants to tell us about Mr. Latos's death. This meeting's over. Darian. Matchie was trying to tell us something. I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is ask him, under oath. Very well. The court finds the defendant. What was his name again?
Objection!
Your Honor. No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marquis or Mr. Justice. Your Honor, before you declare a verdict, I would like to call another witness. Exactly who else do you need to hear from? A witness who, until now, has not been given a chance to speak in this court because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean. I do. Defense calls defendant Matchie Tobayi to the stand. Oh, what? But he doesn't speak English. We'll use an interpreter. Interpreter, I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. I only speak a few phrases, such as I love you and where is the toilet. The defense would like to request Lemire as the interpreter. Lemire? But there's a possibility she's protecting the defendant. But she would be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie? And more importantly, as a government official and as a government in general here, why do we not have an interpreter? I mean, I would think that would be a given right to be able to speak in your defense and to be interpreted. That just doesn't sound right at all. This is most unusual. Bravo, her forehead. Her judge. The prosecution agrees with the defense's request. If Lemire lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that. Well, if both prosecution and defense are for this, I see little cause for refusal. Finally, some progress. Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lemire to the witness stand. I suppose there's a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name to begin with, if you would, Lemire. Yes. He says Matchie Tobayi, the defendant. This is certainly a first for this courtroom. Not that we really needed an interpretation of that message in particular. So far, so good. Very well, Mr. Justice. If you would... If I would what, Your Honor? Would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about? What do I want him to testify about? I hadn't thought that far yet. Apollo, aren't you going to ask him about what he was about to tell us yesterday? How can I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me a moment, if I might speak. Yes, Lemire, or? Just now Matchy said there's something about which he wishes to testify. Matchy wishes to testify about something. What could it be? What sort of testimony is he talking about? One moment, please. The suspense is killing me. What? 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 Oh, well, Lemure. According to Matchy, he has proof of his innocence. What? This is a surprise. Victory, Apollo. We did it. This is sounding too good to believe, and I know what that usually means. Well, if that's true, then this is a vital testimony. Lemire, I mean Matchy, please testify to the court. Very well. He says that word of Mr. Latos's death came as a great shock. But if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, I, that is, he, could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics to the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely. I wondered what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask Lemire to know the meaning of that song. Lemire, did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about, but never in so much detail. He never asked. Has my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead? Lemire might be protecting the witness. Well, anyway, let us proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would. Yes, Your Honor. Something's hidden in that testimony. I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. It worked yesterday, it'll work today. Matchy, you can't fool my eyes. He glanced toward her the very moment the mirror said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Matchy, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? Well, what are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Matchy says this. I know the word English. Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. He learned the name for this language, that is all. Give me a break. Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? Well, yeah, but I am sorry, but he truly does not understand your language. Oh, well then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? It is simple, so simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper, the Borginian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. They have already begun to report about this case in our homeland. I was right. What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they are quite fierce all of a sudden. Matchy is lying. Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying. I have here a Borginian newspaper, the Borginian Daily Bugle as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Matchy? That's right, it doesn't mention the lyrics. What? What is this all about? I'm sorry, Matchy. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Borginian newspaper. What does this mean? But I don't see how it's possible. I know. He must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning. Yes. Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. So the lyrics weren't in the newspaper and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in this courtroom. In English, no less. The witness will explain himself. When you think a cough drop might make it better, but it just seems to make it worse? Yes, it is true I read the newspaper, but this is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What? Is this true, Lemure? Yes, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. Then it looks like her forehead's been jumping to conclusions again. It seems so, yes. No. I was onto something, I know it. I can't let this chance slip away. Time is an issue today. Mr. Justice, are you finished with the cross-examination? What are you going to do, Apollo? If I'm going to keep on cross-examining, I would better have an angle of attack. Or else.
Gotcha!
Did you know that the body reveals our thoughts? And yours is telling me you were uncertain just now. Should I be interpreting this or not? Yes, of course. I must admit I find it hard to interpret that which makes no sense. Maybe you got it wrong, Apollo. Just a thought. You might have a point there, Trucy. No need to interpret that after all, Lemore.
Gotcha!
Lemure. I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain? Me, uncertain. Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. I see there is little point in trying to hide anything from you. Lemire, or are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you.
Take that!
I'm afraid I don't understand what you're saying. Well, so sad to go through life being so misunderstood. I don't need your pity. What I need is another chance. Come on, this is... I picked Machi, right? That's who I'm supposed to present, right?
Take that!
Lemire, or you're protecting Machi. That's why you lied and told us that you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Machi, I believe you didn't do it, really. I trust you. But you've lied to us twice, and now you have Lemire lying on your behalf.
Stream elements. Said. Stay moist, my friends. Hydrate.
And now you have Lemire lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English. You have to. Witness, is this true? Do you understand English? Yes, a little only. What? First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lemure? No, I did not. It is quite a surprise. How many secrets is this witness hiding? Last. This is last. Matchy, could you tell us what really happened? No shooting. I did no shooting. So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those 2 gunshots, correct? Apparently the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk, manager, he on floor, which would be right after the shooting, right? And then there is voice, or voices. Was it you and Emma Apollo? So when Matchy went into the dressing room, Mr. Latos had already been shot, and then we came to the door. Panel high up, I take off, run away, run away. So it was you who escaped through that air vent. As the prosecution has upheld all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession? No, he's clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting. Manager on floor. Already on floor. The victim had already been shot, you say? I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter. Does the defendant have anything to say to this? He's clammed up, Apollo. Then let's ask Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness? Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait, no, of course there is. What is this cocoon, anyway? The cocoon, the silk, is a potent cure. A cure. Well, Matchy, are you a smuggler? He won't tell me. That cocoon has to have something to do with this. Matchy, please tell us the truth for your own sake. No, no more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust to her forehead. You were the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse.